What's up, everybody? This is your boy, that Black Oni, coming at you guys today to actually just chat it up with you guys on this podcast and talk about bullshit stuff that is happening in the gaming network and the gaming community overall. But before we get into that, I want to reintroduce y'all guys to my homeboy, my best friend, my brother, and that's my boy, Immortal Afro.
Man, how y'all doing? This is your Immortal Afro, Josh, and we got some stuff to talk about today, man. More bad news, terrible news.
And pretty much what's going on today is that, you know, like I said, I just found out the bad news from my boy Immortal Afro, and he was telling me about Spyro, so I'm gonna go ahead and let him talk about it and let him start it off because he knows more about it.
All right, y'all. So news just broke, I think 2 days ago, that Spyro the Reignited Trilogy will not have the second and third games playable for the physical copy of the release. You have to download the second and third games, which is really causing a lot of controversy because, you know, the way these publishers set this stuff up, you know, it creates more questions than it does answers. I've seen some people saying, like, oh, do we have to pay for that separately to get the second and third games? Or what is it a patch that unlocks the other games? You know, why aren't these games on the physical release? And, of course, I'm thinking, like, well, to me, in my honest opinion, I think this is just a way for Activision and companies like it to push some new insidious anti-consumer practice that will, you know, eventually screw the consumer. Because as much as I thought about it, I talked to another friend about this on Discord a few hours ago, and we've yet to come up with a reasonable explanation as to why you would have to download the second and third game of the Reignited Trilogy if you got the physical copy. None of it makes sense. And the best I can come up with is for piracy, maybe, but that still kind of screws over the consumer.
Yeah, like even with the whole piracy thing, though, honestly, like I said, the disc size is pretty much large enough that it should be able to contain all of that.
Yeah, Blu-ray disc carries 50 gigabytes.
Yeah, and you know, it's getting more complicated and harder to even do piracy on Blu-rays these days.
Well, not only that, it's like, here's the thing. Piracy will never be as big of an issue. You'll probably hear people say, like, oh, piracy is really hurting the industry. It's not. If anything, it's more beneficial to the industry now. Because with the way all these terrible bad business practices going,
right,
you know, people are like, well, screw it. Like, I'm just going to steal the game because I got to jump through too many hoops if I, you know, buy it legally.
Right.
Like, for example, let's say, you know, this isn't an unrealistic thing. I know it's 2018 and everyone just assumes everyone has access to internet. But no. You know, there are some people, there are some places, there are some situations that people are in to where they don't have access to online all the time. Because this just seems like some more DRM, pushing towards a DRM future.
Right.
Oh, I bought this game. I purchased a game that says it has this on it, but I don't really get that.
Right.
You know, I got to go and follow another prerequisite in order to get access to what is rightfully mine.
And see, that's kind of where I'm having an issue at, because I'm starting to notice they do that with a lot of games. Like I was telling you earlier about Mega Man, when they had redid the classic one where you got Mega Man, you know, 1, 2, and 3, but find out you only have Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 2 and 3, the exact same thing going on with Spyro, was the exact same way with that. But the issue was, after it's used, you don't get another copy of the download. So you have a half a value game, but you're paying for it like it's a full value. You know, like, well, if it's trade-in, you get it in pretty much like a trade-in game where it only take like, what, 20% off of it when you buy it. So, you know, like things like that I have issues with, because my thing is, if you're going to do it like that, I might as well just wait for a PC version of it to come out, or, you know, get the original mod of the, you know, the old game. I'd rather just keep playing the old game if that's the case.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that we actually talked about earlier was value. You know, would I put the value of a DLC, or not DLC, but download game above an actual physical copy, where compared to now, you know, like one of the major excuses to like games now, the reason why they don't put booklets and stuff in there is they said to hold back on costs.
which is garbage.
Yeah, and because the one thing that actually brought value to a lot of these games, even today, do you ever remember a game called Stubbs the Zombie?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, the PC version is stupid cheap. You can go anywhere buy that physical copy of the disc because they made it in bundles. Now, it's hard to find the original Xbox version. And if you can find the original Xbox version with the booklet, case, and the disc, it's like near damn close to $70-some to $100. In that case, it has more value.
Yeah, because you got physical things to add to it. You know, it ain't, you don't just have the game.
Yeah,
and that's the glory behind, you know, physical copies. You know, a lot of games I download now just out of convenience, but that's because it's an option, not because I have to. I just prefer to download. But one thing I don't want to change about the game industry is physical copies, because it's easier to own that form of media. Because another reason why this is good for gaming is because if for whatever reason these companies like Microsoft or Sony, if they decide to drop out of, you know, the platform, because, you know, stuff you download won't necessarily always be yours, because, you know, you got limited space. And I'm thinking, it's, you know, for PC it's fine because you kind of have, you're better equipped to deal with a library of that length, and Steam is pretty good towards, you know, consumers.
Right.
You can play all those games offline. You know, there's no problem. You don't have to do no DRM check.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, if Sony or whatever decides to just say, screw it, we're done, we're out the market, it's over, and half your games go with them, where all their money go? You know,
all the money you originally paid for those games, you can't do anything with them. And like that's another thing too. Like when I used to be in the gaming market, like with the trade, the marketing for like actual games and stuff like that, I know a lot of people will bring these systems in thinking that the download content they had on the games would put more value on the game system. And the most funniest thing I would always have to tell them is, well, we have to wipe the system anyway. It has to be a fresh system for whoever else comes in and buys it.
Yeah,
so
the only time it's going to be like rare or something is if you have a case like with PT.
Exactly.
And, you know, that only...
That's
saw
rare.
And that's an even better example, because you saw how swiftly they took that off the market, and then the value for the people who did download the game skyrocketed. PlayStation 4, you're selling them for like thousands of dollars because of that 1 5-minute demo.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's the power these companies have. They could just rip the stuff off the store and you can't get it no more.
Exactly.
A physical copy, you have that forever. That company can go up in flames, get hacked all to hell. You know, if you're offline, put your game in to play, you're good.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, it all comes down to trust. And sadly, I don't care how much people like these companies, you can't trust them.
No.
Because they've been getting more and more corrupt as time goes on, with the main contributors being Activision, EA, Blizzard. All of them are always doing something, whether it's in the form of insidious practices like loot boxes, DRM, or Microsoft too. Microsoft probably at the top of that list. Doing all these anti-consumer practices, whether it be with DLC, costing people more and more just to do something simple like play a game.
Yeah.
I just want to teleport to another world for a couple of hours. Been busting my ass at work all week. I'm tired. I just need to chill.
Yeah.
And now it's costing more to do that, and the amount I'm spending, I'm getting less.
Exactly.
So,
and I think that's like one of the main things that I kind of have an issue with. It's like even the special bundles aren't even special anymore.
Yeah.
It's like damn, you know, I'm still getting DLC.
Yeah, ripped off.
Like, yeah, I'm getting fucked over just simply because I want to actually be a collector these days. Like, you know, like honestly, these days, being a collector is like, it's not the same thing as it was being what you had back in the day when you were a collector. You know, like for certain games, you know, I had booklet, CD, the full case with it. Remember, I showed you the whole thing with Japan, how they put a different back case in for you for it to be a complete, you know, box set. Things like that really do matter, and I think one of the best like lies that all game companies actually tell you is, oh yeah, the reason we don't put booklets and games and stuff in there anymore is to help us save. Like, for you to get those booklets made costs 50 cents to like, or less to make.
Well, the thing is like cheap. The cost isn't even something that we should be concerned with. Like that's part of your marketing.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, it's crazy, man. Because I hate when you come across people who damage control for these billion-dollar companies like they're the victims. Like you guys have infinite money and resources. Y'all don't need help.
Loans.
Can you imagine like what it would actually take to bankrupt somebody like EA? It
would take millions to bankrupt them.
Yeah, but there's nothing that we could really do. Like with Konami, you know, if they can totally just drop the whole gaming division. They make tons off of gambling.
Yeah,
you know, gambling machines. So I'm like, these companies they're fine. They don't need help. That's why when I hear, like, it was a few years ago when Activision was talking about how piracy is ruining games like Assassin's Creed. I was like, and it was their reasoning behind why they do all these DRM things. I'm like, shut up. Because the amount of people that pirate games will never be enough to hinder the money they make off of a sale.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to understand how many people go through all the shit they have to learn how to do that stuff, let alone do it properly, cracking games. Let's say, like, okay, I understand, pirating is wrong, but what would you rather do? Pirate a game from a shit company that's been shitting on all of the legitimate people who pay them money to play their game.
Exactly.
Or that. Would you pirate that game or buy that game? If you knew this game was bad for...
Like, I honestly, like, with the whole thing with all the shit that's been going on with, like, EA and all these other major companies that I've seen and also heard watching videos on, like, honestly, if I'm going to get cheated, I'd rather cheat them first. You know, I would rather pirate this shit. But, you know, like I said, in this world and day we live in, motherfuckers, they get upset about stuff like that. But it's true. Yeah. We're being the ones who get cheated through systems. I'm talking about, I rather, you know, my thing is, if I'm going to get cheated through something, let it be my, you know, my PC in which I can fight back, you know.
Yeah, there's something you can do. You can't do shit on a console.
Yeah, you can't do shit, period, on a console. I can't be like, hey, yo, this game sucks. I want to return this. No, I'm gonna get store credit for it or something.
And especially when it comes to digital, that's why I like Steam.
Exactly.
You know, even Steam has a return policy for digitally downloaded goods.
Exactly.
You get, I think, a maximum of 2 hours of game time before you can, get your money back.
Right.
There is an option. You don't get shit on the consoles. Like, once you buy it, you're just fucked. If it's a bad game or if it don't work, up yours. That's your reward.
Yeah, and I think that was like one of the main issues. Like, another thing that I have a great fear for that I've looked at, and it seems to be becoming a reality with the PlayStation 5 being download console only.
I really hope that's not true.
Like I said, I'm hoping it's not true, but the way it's looking and how gaming, quote unquote, wants to change, it's most likely gonna be a thing. Like I said, Xbox tried that. Mm-hmm. Xbox got, everybody tore into their asshole about that. Mm-hmm. So my whole thing is, now if it is true, like, and PlayStation making fun of them so many years back, now they're doing the exact same thing. That's like a devil. That's a devil market, like, dead serious.
Yeah, and it sucks because there are so many benefits. Here's the thing. Digital is supposed to be an option, not mandatory.
Exactly.
It's never supposed to be mandatory because, that's not... You can do all the crunching numbers you want. Like, we made way more digital sales than physical sales. The thing is, why not have both?
Exactly.
The amount of money you're spending on making booklets, which aren't even fucking books anymore, more like a sheet of paper.
It's literally a sheet of paper.
Yeah, talking about we're saving money. Like, you already cutting back. I already got to pay DLC in the game to get the rest of the game now. You took the book away from me. The cases got smaller. So I'm like, how much more cutting back you got to do? You got to go full digital so you can make me buy the next version of your PlayStation with a slightly bigger hard drive? I'd just rather get a PC.
Exactly.
That's what the PCs are for. I have complete control over what goes into this thing. Why would I settle on a gimped PC just to play a few exclusive games?
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, God of War 6. I'm like, on a download only console.
Yeah, like, and I tell folks, I love God of War. Main reason for having a PS4, God of War. But if that shit's downloadable only, like, that's when I have to put my foot down and be like, I'm done. Of course, I had my, PS4 before the God of War, but still, I knew it was coming.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel with the Spyro. Because like I've been so excited since they announced it, and this was all it took for me to just be like, now I can't buy the game on release because like I don't want y'all having my support on that. I can't support you on that. I'd rather wait until it come out on PC after you made those sales and buy it my way. Because even though I was gonna download it because that's just like I like to download it. I don't want to give credence to a bad business practice.
Exactly.
Because that's not right. That's not right. And the amount of people damage controlling for it is unreal. And that's the difference. Like I had this realization years ago. Like my friend L Cross, I'm so glad he told me about this because I was so caught up in my favorite game. I was like, as long as I get my game, I could give two shits less what happens to the gaming industry. That's not the way you go about it. Dead or Alive 5. I was a sucker for that game. I gave them everything. I bought Dead or Alive 5 times. Physical, digital. I even bought a useless system to play that game. A Vita. I ain't buy that Vita for nothing but a game I already had terrible. 4 times over. And I was like, I just want to support it because I'm a good drone. I do exactly what they want.
But honestly, that's what it is when it comes to like, and I hate to say it, but it's true. When it comes to console players, my thing is we just accept. Instead of being like, no, this is a piece of shit. Like we be like, oh man, it's my favorite game. Like, no, if God of War was a piece of shit and it had loot boxes and all that, or loot crates, whatever the fuck you want to call it, my thing is, would I be that type of guy who'd be like, oh man, this is great? No, I'm gonna still tell you it's a piece of shit, but I'm like, well, I'm gonna buy it anyway. That's defeating the purpose. I'm rewarding the people who are fucking me over in the gaming the gaming community,
and that's just gonna encourage them to do more.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like when Dead or Alive came to PC, that's when I realized it because that version was gimped. Yeah, and I was like, damn, I've been supporting y'all this whole time. I finally get a PC to enjoy gaming at its best, and you shit on me. And I'm like, damn, so this is what it means. So now here comes Spyro, and like banking off my nostalgia, thinking they're gonna get me because you want this game. Look at how Ripto looks, and I hate seeing that because now I'm viewing the one game I'm excited for.
Right.
Yeah, I'm now viewing it in a negative light. I'm not saying that against Toys for Bob. They did a good job. They're developing the game. This ain't their fault. I'm 100% certain this is all Activision right here.
Oh yeah,
talking about
you already know it's Activision.
You gotta download games 2 and 3, and like so you got a big old Blu-ray disc in there with only 25% of it being used for a Spyro game.
Exactly.
The hell's the other?
Like that's the thing though, and people gotta understand this. The space on this damn disc. Throw it there.
50 gigabytes.
Okay.
A Blu-ray disc is 50 gigabytes, dual layered. Crash Insane Trilogy on the PS4 was 23 gigs to install. And you gonna tell me Spyro the Dragon is gonna be more than 50? More than Grand Theft Auto?
No.
Shut the fuck. I can't wait to come across some stupid see?
Say it. Stupid fucking retard, alright? Because I'm gonna say it. Stupid fucking retards, alright?
Maybe it's because the game, they had to build the game using some other stuff. See, they still had the information for the Insane Trilogy, so to do that for the Spyro game, it probably wasn't enough room on. Like, shut up, dude.
It's the same engine.
You don't need to
better
have
graphics. That's it.
You don't have to have a developer's intuition, like how to make games, to understand how this works.
Yeah.
This is obviously a ploy by Activision to push for a certain because like I don't know because Young covered it.
Right.
And he pulled an article where they asked Activision about it. They didn't even answer the question.
Oh yeah,
they completely sidelined it. This is what they literally said. We can't wait for people to play Spyro Reignited Trilogy that drops September 21st, 2018. Nowadays, some games require download.
But like, why is my thing is, and this is going out straight to Activision on this, because like I said, if I don't agree with something, I'm coming after you on this one. Why would I pay money for a system, not even a system, a disc that has all of this fucking space on there that's not being used up? And you're telling me that this has to have downloads. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why would I have to go through that?
If it's additional content, it's fine. But why is it the content of the disc? Like, that's 2 whole games.
Yeah.
And here's another reason I've been hearing. It's crazy how many people are trying to justify this. They're actually trying to come up. None of them work for Activision. These are just people looking forward to the game. And so they're saying, like, well, first it was like maybe the content's too big, maybe the file's too big. That's bullshit. Well, maybe it's a patch, and the game won't be done by the time it comes out, and they got to do it. Like, we found out about this 2 months before release, and you mean to tell me that they aren't going to be finished, and so they know they're not going to be finished, but they have a patch ready day one.
Exactly.
That makes zero sense.
Okay, and this is another thing I was telling you about, because I've had different jobs and different types of marketing. Okay, when I worked for a Pacific company that would actually burn these games onto Blu-ray and actually make the covers and the front labels for these games, one thing I ended up finding out is these are shipped out, and these are sent out to the companies months in advance.
Yeah, so they're already done with it.
They're already done. Like, no one could come up with an excuse, the reason why. I've been in the marketing for this. I know how it works. I've been doing this literally. My mom did this at one time when PlayStation 2 was big, when PS3 and PS4 were, when PS3 it really was at its end. But when PS4 was in a huge of marketing, we were working on these. So it's nothing that you can tell me that's saying, oh, well, they weren't done. They already knew they weren't going to be done with this or something like that. But you already have something, like you said, coming out on day one. But in months in advance, these games are done. You have to think, they can't just make all these games 1 week. That's unrealistic to do. They have to do all of these games months in advance. It's going to be, if not thousands, I'm gonna say a few thousands. I'm not even gonna say a million. All right, I'm just gonna drop out. Millions of these copies are already sent out somewhere. Yeah. They're waiting for it to be dropped. That's how this works.
And here's the thing: like, I'm not opposed to a day one patch, because usually that means that was something that was found out too late into development to catch before release. But this isn't a day one patch. They're saying you need this in order to play the rest of your game.
Exactly.
A day one patch is something that fixes something like, oh, dang, we caught this, the embargo lifted before the release, and so people were like, hey, I'm having this trouble. The most we can do is a patch. Like, let's say freaking Spyro was green. A glitch happened and Spyro is green. That's not right. Well, this day one patch will fix it, but you'll still be able to play the games when they come out.
That's acceptable though.
Yeah,
like things like that are acceptable. One of the bosses we found out glitched out. They make some way too OP.
Something that's like, oh, oops, honest mistake. Stuff happens, but you can still play the game.
Small fixes.
Yeah,
that's honestly what it is. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, that's what they need to take care of. That's the goal that they need to be doing. But when you're trying to sell me on a gimmick on something, and then depending on where this game is traded in at, it does not get another code or anything like that too.
That's another question. So, like, if I buy this game used, am I just shit out of luck? If I spend $40 for this game used, or $35.99, do I still have access to that 2 and 3? Does this happen every time the game is loaded into a PlayStation and it realizes there's no Spyro data on there? Like, all these questions. I'm like, I shouldn't even have to worry about this because the shit should already be on the disc.
Yeah, but you see, that's the crazy part about it. Because like I was telling you earlier, the whole issue with the original Mega Man Classic that came out for the Switch, the biggest issue with that was the simple fact that after that code is used, and someone else buys that copy that doesn't come with a code, you only have access to the first one. Yeah,
which is false advertising. Yeah. Because I'm looking at it, it says play all 3 games on the cover.
Exactly.
But I can only really play one because I don't have internet. How dare you not pay another company for internet and then pay us for PlayStation Live or whatever to get access to this game that you just paid for? Exactly. How much more shit do I got to pay for in order to enjoy my game casually? It's Spyro. This ain't like this is a competitive sport or fighting game online where I gotta be online in order to do a certain thing. I'm running around torching niggas and taking money.
Yeah,
and now I can't.
rubies.
Yeah, and now I can't do it. for 2 games.
And
Why?
see, that's the main. That's like one of the biggest problems, and a lot of people who probably hear this who are like just game heads be like, well, I don't really see a real problem in that. You're the ones who are literally letting people steal from you.
Contributing to the death of gaming. You're like, I understand that mentality because I was there.
I'm talking about, but the thing is, you jumped from ignorance though. You educated yourself on that.
Yeah,
you got out of that.
And that's the thing. It really just comes from: are you willing to allow the gaming industry become more and more sick so you can have this one game? Because look, as much as I want the remastered trilogy, reignited trilogy, I already have the originals, and no matter what version they come up with, will never top that. Right. It sucks because I really want to play. I've been following the game nonstop with all the tweets, all the top Spyro heads talking about it. Every time they release a trailer or some gameplay or some concept art, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. But as soon as I saw that, I'm like, no, fuck the game. I'm forced to buy the game used so I can show them that I don't support this practice, which sucks because I want Toys for Bob to reap the benefits of all their hard work.
Exactly.
Making this game. This is why publishers just ruin gaming. You know, I want to do that. I'm forced to wait until the PC version come out after sales.
Right.
Because, you're not making my money off the initial sales of this because you're doing this shit. Or I got to get it used. Or even worse, pirate it. Because I'm like, dang, you put me in such a position to where I feel like you're taking advantage of me, and you don't even have to because you have something that I want.
Exactly.
This is what causes pirating. These companies be acting like, we don't know why people pirate a game. There's money we could be making. They're stealing money. Like, you're stealing from us. Why do I have to do this just to play your game? I'm already going to pay you, and then you're going to throw this at me on top of that? The game was bought the minute it was announced.
Exactly.
Before I saw any of the stuff they showed, the minute they showed that first trailer, I'm like, I'm in. I want it. And then you got to come over here and yank the rug from under me, like, yeah, now fuck you, now give me your internet. I'm like, you don't need my internet. That's the guy bought the game.
That's one of the main things. Like, I remember when I saw it. I remember me and Hun was like, I'm like Fry in Futurama. I'm like, just take my money. Like, shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
I'm hyped for it. And just to find out that now the second and third game is going to be
locked behind nothing.
Yeah. Like now, what I was telling you earlier, it was a thing that came out. It was a software disc that came out for PS3. It's really hard to find. It exists, but the thing was, it was for games that had the lock on it where you have to go online to buy something. You put this in first, let it read. It will save the copy on there, but it would only save it on there for like 24 hours. It was a weird setup. I cannot explain because I never owned a physical copy of it. But what it would do is unlock your game. So if you had something that was like locked behind something, like, oh well, you got to pay for this, like that dumb shit, it would automatically knock that out. It was folks caught whim of it, and it was just like, nah, if this happens, we're finna, they weren't going for it. But that's what makes people do stuff like this.
Yeah, because it's like, it really irritates me because I was talking to my friend L. Cross about it, and he brought up another good, interesting thing. You remember, I don't think you remember, but, excuse me, it was in the last gen consoles where Capcom, they were talking about, hey, I wonder if anyone's interested in the new Dark Stalkers game, with Felicia and them.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, hell yeah. After seeing Street Fighter V, and they get everybody hyped, like, oh, we might be able to see Rival School. Because Capcom got a bunch of games.
I'm talking about, like, okay, for everybody who does not know, Capcom has a ridiculous library of fucking games that they could revamp. Mm-hmm. Not just revamp, but I'm talking about continue the storyline off of. What I'm talking about? You got Power Stone, you got fucking
Rival School.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Dark Stalkers.
And I have I think I
Lost
still have
Planet before they killed it.
Oh yeah, no, Lost Planet ain't coming back after that. I'm sorry. That's a resurrection if they can make it happen. Yeah. But no, like Rival School was like one of my games back on PS1. Like one of my favorite games to play. Like me and my brother would just A1 have just brawl out on that type of game, and because it had a huge different type of variety, mini games in there. Now, mind you, they bring that over. You gonna tell me that all of that shit on there? They brought back Rival Schools 1, and then the second Rival School games. You gonna telling me the second one gonna have to be DLC, even though the game wasn't even a gig big? Like, what type of bullshit is that? They, you know, I understand probably after the graphics that they put in it, but if they keep the same fighting engine, which was actually really good. If they were able to do that, you telling me that that game is going to be 50 gigs large after that? I call bullshit on it.
Yeah, see, it's the thing. Like, DLC was a good idea when it was first implemented by Grand Theft Auto 4, but it was, unfortunately, it was like Pandora's box.
Yeah,
you're like, oh man, look at all the possibilities. We could really screw people over, and they wouldn't even know. Like, and like I was saying, like with the whole Capcom thing. When they said we were thinking about bringing back not Rival Schools, but Darkstalkers.
Yeah, it got every guy. I was hyped for that. Yeah, I was dead serious hyped for it.
But you know what was funny? Because I think they released they re-released some of the old games you can play online, and it didn't do well. And they were like, well, based off those sales, there's no interest for the game. Like, no, that's not the reason. It was because the shit y'all re-released and made people pay for was garbage compared to the free one that people can play on PC with GPO.
Exactly.
So it's like, why would I pay for a shit product? Same thing happened to Soul Calibur 2 online. Why? Here's the funny thing, man. Here's the funny thing, because first of all, it wasn't even the right version. All right. Second of all, like the online capabilities of the game was garbage. No lobbies, from what I heard, because I didn't play it. There was no lobbies.
I didn't play it either. I'm just gonna let you know that
it was lacking in what you would expect from an online fighting game.
Right.
Turns out, you can get the Dolphin emulator.
Really?
Soul Calibur 2 and network play for people, and it played flawlessly. So some random people on the internet built and maintained a better online experience for an old game, better than a multi-million-dollar company, and they turn around and act like the game didn't do well. It didn't do well because you did a shit job making it.
Exactly.
Versus, and then you're gonna sit here and put the blame on us because you didn't have enough interest, so that's why we ain't making it no more.
But you notice, I started to notice that two people who are originally fans of a game actually come out making better shit for a game than the actual company.
Because they have passion. They're not interested. That's why I love the PC gaming community. Mods. None of those people get paid. They just do it because they want to.
Exactly.
Like
the love for the game.
Yeah. Like, oh man, you know, we'll make this game cool. Freaking the Flash mod. Boom. You gotta pay for it? No. That's why when Bethesda came out with that Creators Club shit, paid mods, everybody was like, no. Because why are you trying to monetize a passion? That's what kills things. Yeah. That's why the gaming industry is such a fucking joke now, because it's all about the money. And as much money as these folks make, why are games getting more and more shit compared to back in the day before?
And becoming more expensive.
More expensive, at a higher cost, less quality. Because back in the day, before post-gaming patches was even a thing, you couldn't even think of that. A game when it shipped, that was it. That's all you got. How come games back then were better? How? No patching required. Games now, like you get Battlefield 4 game crashing patches, and you gotta patch it. And I'm like, dang, I done spent 300% more for a game this day and age compared to the amount I spent back in the day.
Yeah. And
the game can't even run over here on my brand new $2,000 bitchin' PC. But hey, let me plug in my Sega Genesis. Glitch, what is that? Crash, huh? You know, like
there was no such thing as that, because there was a bigger passion for it at that time too.
Yeah, now everything got monetized, and now games getting shitty, and now you got to download. What do you have to pay for this game? Comcast and $40. Like, oh my god, man! It's like can't have nothing, man.
No, you can't.
The industry is a joke.
Thing. Yeah, it is. It's a hell of a joke. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna end it here. Like I said, I'm gonna leave this off with on my end with that for video games to continue living and prospering and actually do better than what they're doing now. They need to have a huger passion than what they have. If not, video gaming as a whole is going to be something of the past.
Yep.
or you know, people are going to continue to let video game companies or publishers abuse them in the long run for things like this. And once again, it's still going to be dead to that point. But that's my last 2 cents that I have to say in it. Immortal Afro, do you have your 2 cents that you want to say when leaving the thing off?
Just try to be aware. Try not to let your love of nostalgia cloud your judgment. I know it's hard, and regardless of what happens, I'm almost certain that the Spyro Reignited trilogy is going to sell well. And of course, I want it to sell well because Toys for Bob put so much work into it. But at the same time, at least make yourself aware of the insidious practices that go behind some of the things that you love, because you may not think about it, but you may actually be contributing to the death of gaming. And just be aware, educate yourself. Don't be fooled. Don't let your fanboy, fangirl mentality get in the way of making a good judgment call. Understand, knowing is half the battle. So yeah, that's all I got, man. That's all I got.
All right. With all of that being said, this is your boy, That Black Oni, coming at you guys, very just sad and disappointed, with my boy
Immortal Afro
coming out, like just letting y'all know that as a whole, man, as literally as gamers in this gaming community, we can't continue to stand for shit like this happening and then accept it, because when you do, you make yourself weak to the cause, and you'll be a fool for anything after that. So I just want to leave it off on that. But like I said, once again, this is Black Oni. Just want to leave y'all with a farewell. And 3, 2, 1.